Check one. Okay. So good evening, fellows. So I know you all have had a hectic day today with all the classes and everything. So that's why we have planned this for Sunday. So even though you are very tired on these days, on Sunday, so you all can just relax, have a nice time, and look at the screen for the day. So I'll be going through each and every question with all the theory components plus the answers. So it will be a nice recalling for you, and it will work out and it will give out the best in you on the exam day. So we are back with Math Marathon. Last year we were able to do it for almost 6 months, and we were able to go through the papers, each paper twice. So how the system works is, so we will take at least a minimum of 1.5 hours to 2 hours to discuss half of a paper. That means part one. That means almost 12 to 13 questions per day. So we'll be discussing one paper for 2 days because I know you all can't hold it up for more than 2 hours. Okay. So that's how the system goes. And we'll be analyzing the paper. We'll be discussing the theories and we'll be discussing the answers. So that's how it works. So I don't want to waste your time further. So we'll just kickstart the paper. So today we are going to start with the 2020 O-level paper. Okay. So to analyze the paper, if we start analyzing the paper, you can see these are how the sections that the questions are coming from. So the first question is from percentages. The second question is from triangle geometry. Likewise, this is how the 25 questions are formed. So based on this, what we have done is, so based on this, we have analyzed how many per section are coming through. So out of these, the kids who have already joined my previous sessions, they know triangle geometry is one of the main sections. Circle geometry is another main section. Fractions, measurements, percentages, sets, data representation, progression, equation or binomial expression, graph, construction, and probability. So these are few main sections. We call it main sections because from these sections, you have questions in part 1A, that is this, part 1B, structured essay paper, and part 2, the essay paper. So these sections mostly combine together you to give the questions from those. So you can see the weightage given for those questions. Triangle geometry, you have almost 5 questions in this paper. Normally, as a norm, we consider there are 4 questions from triangle geometry and 4 questions from circle geometry. That is how we consider. But in here, we have 5 questions from triangle geometry and 3 questions from circle geometry. 4, 4, 8 is 8. Yeah, quite comfortable because from geometry, we have got 8 questions. Okay. The next one, from fractions, we have 2. Normally, also that means as a norm, we get 2. We have 2. No worries. Measurements 2. Yes, that's also so no worries. Percentages 1, but normally on as a norm, you can add 2 questions per paper, but here you have only 1. That's fine. Sets, yes, correct, only 1. Data representation, normally you should get 2. Here you have only 1. Okay. Progression 1, yes. Always, up to now, the paper on level past paper questions, the question you are getting from progression. Okay. That means in part 1A, the question always is from geometric. Arithmetic is jumping on to the part 2. Okay, that means the first question of part 2B, almost the 7th question normally. And you have binomial expression 1, okay, graph 1, yes. Graph also you have 2 types. One is parabola and the other one is linear. So up from grade 6 up to grade 9, you were learning about linear graphs. Okay. So graphs of the form y equals mx plus c. Graphs like this. Okay. So the question you are getting in part 1a is always connected to this. Up to now, it has been. Whatever we are saying is of assumptions and what of the past things that have happened, of the previous record. Okay. So up to now, the question in part 1a is always had been from the graphs of the form y equals mx plus c. Okay. The parabola graph, the questions jump on to the part 2 paper. Part 2a. Okay. That is where the parabola questions from. The part 1 question is normally from the linear graph y equals mx plus c. Construction, one question. Normally it's the 25th question. So we'll see whether it's the 25th question here also. Matrices, these sections, such as matrices, proportions, LCM, rate, and logarithm. You can't see these questions every year. They sometimes you might have this year, next year you might not have. You might have or you might not, we don't know. These questions just keep swapping with some other sections. There are a few other sections that keep swapping. So these questions keep, sometimes you get a matrices question this year, next year, last year you might have got, for you might not have got, you might not get, or you might get, we don't know. Okay, but it will keep swapping. But these questions, these sections, these are permanently sitting there. You have almost 20 questions from these sections that we talked, where they will always be permanently sitting there. Okay. Only 5 questions or 4, maybe we say 4 to 5 questions will vary from these sections. Sometimes you might get a question from matrices. Then here you have got a question from LCM. Sometimes you might get 2 questions from LCM. Matrices will not be there. Or you might get 2 questions from rates. Up now it hasn't happened, but just an example. So 2 questions from rate. LCM will not be there. So these questions just play up and down. Okay. Up as per the previous records. But logarithm is also kind of it coming under this section. So we'll say 4 questions are just swapping up and down. So these are the 4. Clear? So I think this would have given a brief understanding about the paper and its structure for you. So we'll be doing this for every understand, and you'll have a better understanding of the paper with time. So you should always know the depth of a river before getting into it. Okay. So that's what is happening here. So we are analyzing the paper even before you face it. That means most of y'all might be waiting for the last 2 or 3 months to get onto the papers. No. Now itself get onto it. So you know what it means to do the paper and how you need a certain framework for you to work on it. Because you can't just go and see the first paper that you see on the exam. No, that won't work. Okay. So you need to plan and go. So that's how it works. So that's what I'm training y'all for this. This is not mainly for O levels. I'm training all these analysis sections for you to take over the A levels properly. Okay. Every one of y'all will pass the O levels. There's no doubt of it. Okay. But there's a bigger picture waiting for you. That's the A levels. So all these analyses and all these sections are for you to get on to the A levels properly. And when you go to the universities, you might have to research and blah, 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 everything, dissertation, thesis, and everything. At that point, all these will come in handy for you because you know how to analyze things. Clear? Okay. So we'll jump on to the question. Question number 1. Even on the section I showed you, this question is from percentages. Okay, the base that is 10. Okay. The bill for the monthly phone usage of a household is 1,500 rupees. That means the value 1,500. 108 rupees is added to this as VAT tax. According simply find the percentage that is charged as VAT. So we need to find the percentage. So whenever we get a question from percentages, okay, percentages, we normally study two main sections here. The first one is taxes. The next is the interest. The tax gets further divided into two as the direct tax and the indirect tax. Direct tax means the tax, when you are paying, they show it as a tax component. That means in the direct tax, you have three. You have more, but we are studying only three. The first one is the rates. Second one is the income tax. Third one is the custom duty. So what are rates? Rates are taxes that you pay on fixed assets. When you have a land, when you have a house, or when you have a building, okay? When you own those buildings, the government is not going to get any revenue out of it, okay? But you might have a land in, we'll say, in Kandy, somewhere around in Galaha or somewhere, and you have a land in Colombo, okay? The facilities, the infrastructure facilities that are given to the land prices of Galaha and the land prices of Colombo are totally different, okay? So in Galaha, the land price would be 200,000, that means 2 lakhs per perch. But in Colombo, it's almost 8 to 9 million, that means 80 lakhs to 90 lakhs per million. Whereas if you buy the lands in Galaha, you can buy almost 40 perches for a perch that you buy in Colombo. Why? Why is that difference? The difference is because the infrastructure facilities the government has provided to you. Good road, okay? Payments for pedestrians, okay? Street lights at night. Common sewer drainage facilities. You don't have to have a soakage pit or a septic tank inside your premises. You connect it to the main line and that takes over. You don't put anything in your garden, okay? So because of those facilities and proximity to all the services, you have supermarkets, you have hospitals, you have schools, everything around when you come to Colombo, okay? So who have done those? The government has done those, putting up their own money, okay? How do government have a revenue? By taxes, okay? So, but in Galahad, the price is low because you don't have all those infrastructure facilities in a close proximity. Clear? So the rate in Galahad and rate in Colombo are totally different. Okay, so there the rate will be for the entire year, that means 10,000. Here for the entire year, it will be about 70,000, maybe 100,000 also. We don't know. Okay, so the difference is because the infrastructure facilities the government has provided. So for the facilities they provide, and for the maintenance of those facilities, the maintenance of the road, the maintenance of the street light, when the street light is it's malfunction, they have to change it. Collection of garbage and maintenance of the cleanliness of the roads, blah blah blah. Everything. When something gets damaged, they have to replace. So for all those, they charge a certain tax. That is what we call as rates. So since they can't just tax it on a person who's walking on the road, what they do is they tax it from the people who own lands, houses, or buildings in that region. Clear? That's what rates means. So you might think your father or mother is owning the house, so you don't have to pay for anyone. No, you are paying for the government because you're in Sri Lanka under the republic, okay, and democratic country. So that is that. So you have to pay. The next one is the income tax. Income tax means, okay, I don't know whether you all know, this is a common example I gave, okay. I'm not very accurate, but I think that's the case. So normally, a CEO of a company, we'll say the dialogue CEO, okay. Do you know his exact salary? So maybe our parents, okay, my parents or your parents or even me, we might be earning almost less than a million or whatever per month, okay. So that million is sufficient for us to do everything that we need for the month. Education wise, food and beverage wise, lifestyle wise, for the vehicle, the transportation wise, everything that is sufficient, okay, and to run an entire family, okay. But when you take a person like a CEO in a company, we'll say dialogue CEO, his salary is almost 25 million. That means 2.5 crores per month, okay. So that is excess. That means if you, at the moment where you can live a good luxurious life at 1 million, he's getting 25 million, 25 times more. So what does government does is they have a certain cap. The current cap is if you earn 150,000, you are not taxed. When you earn, that means the government thinks 150,000 is sufficient to run a family and to live a good life. Okay, I don't know about anything. I'm not going to comment about it. So according to them, that's it. So 150,000 is sufficient. So whatever we earn more than 150,000, okay, it's being taxed. Okay. So at the very point when you earn 150,000 and 100 rupees, you need to pay the tax. Okay. So 150,000 up to 150,000 it is not taxed. After that, you are being taxed. So that's how it works in our country. Initially, it was up to from 2011 to 2008, 2000, no, 2019, it was 5 lakhs. Up to 5 lakhs, you don't have to pay any taxes. Up to 5 lakhs, it was tax free. So in most of the questions, you see those, okay? Up to 5 lakhs is tax free. After that, you might see, so give me a second, kids. So up to 5 lakhs is not taxed. So then when Honorable President Gotabaya Rajapaksa came, he dropped it down to 100,000. So up to 100,000, you are not taxed. After that, when the President Andhra Kumara came in, he increased it up to 150,000. Earlier it was 500, it came to 100, then it was increased to 150. So that's how it works. So when you earn more than what is required, okay, you are going to just keep the money somewhere. Okay, you are not, the money is not going to circulate. The main reason for our economic recession or the downfall of our country because the money was stagnated. That means money was stored in certain regions. It was not circulating. So to stop things like that, they tax more and more when you earn more and more. So that's why the income tax comes. And these taxes, the rates, income tax, custom duty, you pay it separately. You don't add it into something and pay. When you pump petrol, you don't pay your rates also inside with it. No. When you go and buy food, you don't pay the income tax also with it. No. Income tax you have to pay separately. Rates you have to pay separately. The government will say you have to pay this much. Then you should pay. Custom duty also you pay separately. Custom duty is the tax that you get when you import items or export certain goods from our country to avoid dollars going out from our country. I'll give a brief explanation of it on the next question because we are dragging on the first question for so long. So that is that. So custom duty also you pay separately. When we call indirect taxes, we have a lot, but we are learning about VAT for your O levels. There are a lot. SSCL is there, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot. But VAT, we call VAT an indirect tax because you don't normally pay the VAT separately. Whatever goods or services you buy or you get is with the VAT component. Okay. The current VAT component of our country is 18%. Okay. Where in the recent past it was at 8, it became 15, and it became 18. And there was a plan of our President, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, to make it 21. So before that, we sent him home. Okay, so we are still at 18. So that is that. So whenever, that means we'll say that you are buying a fish bun or something, the actual price of the fish bun is 100 rupees. But when you buy, it won't be 100. It will be 118 because 100 rupees for the bun, 18 rupees tax. You don't pay the tax separately. To purchase the item, the tax is already there. You're paying with the tax. That's why we call it a indirect tax. These components, you pay it separately. This, whatever goods or services you purchase, you're already paying the VAT. Okay, that's why people say everyone is tax-paying citizens, because whatever you buy, even though you go in a bus, the bus ticket is with a VAT component. You go to the doctor, service with a VAT component. You come to architect to get your house designed, you are being charged with a VAT component, everything. Okay, so that is that. It's not only for goods, it's also for services. The next one, when we talk about the interest, we have three components. One is the simple interest. Next one is the compound interest. Next, interest with reducing balance. Apart from this, under the percentages, you also learn about the share market, which is a very important thing for you all to know, because that is the backbone of our country and you all should be part of it. So for the kids who are there with me during the theory sessions, I would have already told at the age of 18, the first thing you should do is not to get a vehicle license. No, because you are not going to end up as drivers. Clear? The first thing you should do is you should open up a CDS account at the Colombo Stock Exchange. Okay, you should start trading and you should support the backbone of our country. Okay, you all should get involved. Most of you all doesn't know. That's why most of the people do not get involved, but you should. Okay, so I'll talk about it later with time. So for the time, we'll proceed. Okay, so here, when we take taxes or interest, we have rates, income tax, custom duty, VAT, simple interest, and compound interest. Almost 6 to 7 components here. Okay, what I'm always telling is, though you have 6 to 7 components, write 8 equations. Okay, just one. Interest or tax equals value into percentage. Okay, that means what? If you take rate equals annual value of the building into annual percentage. If you take the income tax equals income into income tax percentage. If you take the custom duty equals value of the product into duty percentage. If you take the simple or compound interest equals loan or deposit into percentage. Keep it simple. You don't have to memorize several things. Okay, just one. And according to whatever the questions you are getting, you just change it. That's it. Keep it simple. Okay. Now we'll go for the answer. So we have, what they said is, now we have about VAT now. VAT equals value into percentage. I will write it like that. No issues. So we have, they said the VAT component is 180 rupees. Value of the product is 1,500 rupees. Into we have, I don't know, that's what I'm finding, so I'll keep it as X percentage. 180 into 1,500. Now I have percentage, I have to remove the percentage mark, so X over 100. Now it's about cutting and chopping. Cut, 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 cut. So here, X equals 180 divided by 15. Again, if you cut, you will get the answer. 12%. Clear? So I hope you have a better idea of this. Keep it simple, kids. No here and there. No too many equations in your mind. If you start maths is not about memorizing. It's about understanding. You have only three components. You have the text, you have the value, you have the percentage. That's it. They will give two components. You have to find the third. That's it. Okay. So don't get it complicated. Either they will give the value and the percentage. You have to find the text. Or they will give the text and the percentage. You have to find the value. Or value and the text. You have to find the percentage. That's it. Simple. Okay. So keep it simple. So we'll go for the next question. Question number 2. The first question of the triangle geometry. Okay. So here they are asking the value of x. There are 2 marks. What are those? What do these marks tell us? These marks tell us that these two sides are equal. If two sides of a triangle are equal, we call it a isosceles triangle. So we know that. Now they are saying it's isosceles triangle. When they say a triangle, what do you understand? What is the theory? What is the theory? Okay. The sides which are the angles which are opposite to the equal sides are what? Equal. If that is x, the other one is also x. Okay. So we'll discuss the theory in detail. This question, you need to know at least 3 theories. Theory number 1. We'll say you have a triangle and that triangle to be an isosceles triangle. So what do we know? When two sides of a triangle are equal, it's called an isosceles triangle. Okay? In an isosceles triangle, the angles which are opposite to the equal sides, the angles which are opposite to the equal sides are what? Equal. That's why I mark x there. Okay? Angles which are opposite to the equal sides are equal. And similarly, not only that, we'll take another triangle. And similarly, in case if they say this angle and this angle are equal, here they said the two sides are equal. Therefore, the two angles were equal. Here, when they say the two angles are equal, then what? The opposite sides are also equal. Theory and the converse theory. Converse means the opposite. It is not a type of theory. Keep that in mind. Most of the kids think it's a type of theory. No, converse means opposite. This is the theory. If two sides are equal, the opposite angles are equal. Theory. If two angles are equal, the opposite sides are equal. The converse theory. Sides are equal, opposite angles are equal. If angles are equal, opposite sides are equal. Isosceles triangle theorem. This is called the isosceles triangle theorem. This is the first theory you need to know. We did To identify the other angle is also as x, I need it. The next one. Next one I need to know is that we have a triangle. Let this be x. Let this be y. This is the formula which connects the external angle of a triangle and the internal angles. External angle of a triangle and the internal angle. What does the theory say to us? The theory says the external angle is equal to its. Now, if this is the external angle, this is the internal angle of that external angle. In this theory, we don't talk about this angle. We talk about the other two. The theory says the external angle is equal to its internal opposite angles. The external angle is equal to its internal opposite angles. That means A is equal to x plus y. We don't talk about this angle, not the angle right next to it, the angles which are opposite to it. The external angle is equal to the internal opposite angles. Keep that in mind. Okay, good? Okay, perfect. The next one, the theory number 3. That is something you all know. Very simple. If I take a triangle, let this be x, let this be y, and let this be z. So what do they say about the internal angle of a triangle? The internal angle of a triangle is equals to how much? 180 degrees. That you have been learning from grade 6. Okay. Now, this is the additional component. Okay. We'll say, now you have a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral with any shape with 4 sides. It can be a square, it can be a rectangle, it can be a rhombus, it can be a parallelogram, whatever. Okay. Or you have been given a pentagon. Or we'll say you have been given a hexagon, a heptagon, octagon, nonagon, decagon. Now you have to find some missing angles of these. So what are the internal angles of these? 180. Same. No. Why? You know, at this case itself, I know this is not 180. This is 360. Because we've been learning this. What is this? What is this? How do you find it? Okay. Keep this in mind. This should be in your mind. We have an equation to find the internal angles of polygons. Okay, the equation is 2n minus 4 into 90 degrees. 2n minus 4 into 90 degrees. N is the number of sides. We'll verify it. For a triangle, the number of sides is 3. 2 into n is 6. 6 minus 4, 2. 2 into 90, 180. Number of sides of a quadrilateral is 4. 2 into 4 is 8. 8 minus 4, 4. 4 into 90, 360. Verified, no? Correct. For a pentagon, number of 2 into 5, 10. 10 minus 4, 6. 6 into 90, 540. For a hexagon, number of sides, 2 into 6 is 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 into 90 is 720. So this is the equation. This equation should be in your mind. Because in some year, I don't remember which year, whether we'll see whether I don't know whether it's in this year. There was a question where you have a pentagon inside a circle. Okay. To do the question, you need to know an internal angle of a regular pentagon. How do you find it? You need to know this. Clear? So you need to know to find an internal angle of a polygon. The formula is 2n minus 4 into 90 degrees. Okay? So that is a bonus for you. Now we'll go for the question. So the answer is so they said us these two are equal. They also said this is x. And they gave this as 110. So they are asking for the value of x. The first thing we do is what? Okay. Two sides are equal. One angle is x. That means what? The other angle is also what? X. You can do the question in twice. Either you can find this missing angle and then add these both and find this. Or the simplest way is in a straight line, what is the total sum of the total angle? 180 degrees. That means what? 110 plus x equals 180 degrees. X equals 180 minus 110 degrees. X equals 70 degrees. Is it clear? So I hope it's clear for you. Okay. Now we'll go for the next question. First thing we need to do is to find the common denominator. Common denominator in the sense, in other words, we tell it the LCM, the least common multiple. That means where do the numbers meet for the first time? That is the simplest explanation. Where do these numbers, where do these x and 3x meet for the first time? So how do we do? How do we find the LCM? We take both the values together and we start dividing with the small possible prime number. What are prime numbers? Number by 1 and okay. The smallest number is 2. Can I take in 2 here? No, nothing is divisible by 2. So next I'll go for 3. I divide by 3, x cannot be divided, so x comes as it is. 3x, yes, 3 gets divided, x remains. Can I divide again this by 3? No, I can't. There are no numerical components. So next I have to go for the algebraic components. So I divide by x. Until you get 1 at the bottom, you divide. So the LCM is 3 into x, 3x. So here I take LCM as 3x. Here this x has turned to 3x. That means it has got multiplied by 3. In other words, this one also should get multiplied by 3. Minus. Here, this 3x remains as 3x. That means it has got multiplied by 1. So this one also gets multiplied by 1. Equals 2/3. 3 into 1 is 3. So 3 minus 1 divided by 3x equals 2 divided by 3. So I have here, okay, I'll do go to the next page. Sorry. Two over 3x equals 2/3. Most of y'all I have seen, when you all come to a stage like this, you are confused. Don't get confused, kids. 2 and 2 cut, 3 and 3 cut. So what? 1 over x equals 1. So that means what? X equals 1. Very simple. Most of y'all do harder questions. When you come to a situation like this, you are stuck. Why? Why is it? Don't get confused. It's easy. Okay. So I'll go to the next question. Okay. Proportions. It has been estimated that 4 men will take 6 days to complete a certain task. If two more men join this group after they work for 3 days. So for 3 days, there were 4 people working. After that, for the next 3 days, another 2. That means 6 people are working. In how many more days can this task be completed? Okay. Portions. The good section. When we are learning proportions, we have 2 types. The first one is the direct proportion. Okay. A question from me. What is the world record of Usain Bolt when he finished the 100 meters? So what is the 100-meter record? That's what I'm asking. So the record for the 100-meter is 9.58 seconds of Usain Bolt. That means world record is 9.58 seconds. The next one, the 200-meter, same Usain Bolt, it's 19.19 seconds. So these are world records, okay? So this is the fastest recorded times of a human being, okay? So why couldn't he finish the 200 meters in less than 9.58? He took 9.58 for 100, but for 200 meters, why is he taking 19.19? Why can't he finish it before that? There's a reason, no? So this might look very childish, but this is something you know. That means while living for 16 years, you know by common sense, you know, but we are putting it to a theory. Okay, that is because when the distance increase, the time taken to complete the distance also what? Increases. When the distance decrease, the time taken to complete the distance also what? Decreases. We call this the distance is proportional to time. That means when the distance increases, the time also increases. When the distance reduces, the time also reduces. Directly proportional. Okay. So we normally indicate it as x proportional to y. This is proportion. When one component increases, the other component increases. The second type, now you know if that is that, second type is indirect proportion. So for this, I'll take an example from my own field. Okay. So we'll say there's a building. So there's a certain set of people, contractors or his workers. 10 people are there, 10 men are there, and they say that they can complete the building. That means we say the building is already built. They are trying to do the finishers, tiling, painting, and everything. So if you give me 10 men, he can finish the work in 20 days. But now the client says, no, I can't give you 20 days. I need the job done in just 5 days. What does he have to do? If the job to be done in 5 days, he needs to increase his people to how many? Almost 40. Then he can complete the job. So what did happen here? So what did happen here? The task, that means when the number of men increased, the number of days spent on a certain task decreased. When the number of men decreased, the number of days spent to complete the task increased. We call it the men are inversely proportional to days. You don't call it men are proportional to 1 over days. No. Men are inversely proportional to days. Okay. In that case, we normally denote it as x is inversely proportional to y. Okay. This always refers to a certain task. Because when the task is the same, here the building is the same. Okay. It's a 1,000 square feet or 2,000 square foot building, which is given for these 10 people and these 40 men. If the task is different, then these are not relevant. The main item is the task is the same. The task did not change. Task remain as it is. When the task remains, when the number of men are high, the number of days spent is low. When you reduce the number of men, the number of days that are needed to complete the building is also high. Inversely proportional. Now we'll say what is the question. Okay. So they say here, the main thing, the first thing we need to understand in this question is the task is the same. Task is constant. That is the first thing you need to understand here. There's no change in the task. The work the people do. How do you calculate the task? You calculate by man days. Number of men multiplied by the number of days they need to complete. Okay. So here, in this question, the first thing they say is, it has 4 men will take 6 days. First, the primary task of mine is to identify the total work, or what value of the total work. So the work or the task is equals 4 men multiplied by 6 days, which is 24 man days. This is the total component. The total component is 24 man days. Good. The next one is, if two more men joined this group after they worked for 3 days. Worked for 3 days. So I need to find the completed work range. For the first 3 days, only 4 men were working for 3 days. So out of the 24 man days of work, they have completed 12 man days of work. So the balance work they have is 24 minus 12, which is 12 man days. So this is the balance they have. For this balance, what they do? They increase 2 more men for this balance. So what? The same equation is being used 3 times again and again and again. So the balance is 12 man days. Man days equals how many men now? Initially I had 4, I am adding 2 and I'm finding the days. I'll keep it as x. 12 equals 6x, x equals 12 divided by 6. We can complete the job in 2 more days. That means how many days in total? Actually, it was 6 days, but the first 4 men worked for 3 days and the next 6 people worked for 2 days. The total days is 5. So what the question is, how many more days? So that's 2 days. The answer is 2 days. This. The next triangle geometry question. So when you see this 90 degrees, what is the first thing to recall? What is it? Pythagoras theorem. What does it say in the Pythagoras theorem? So if we find the value of AB, we are using the value of AB and BC. If we find the value of AC, then I can subtract the value of 7 and find the value of. So here, AB squared, that means the two sides, AB and BC, the two sides which form the 90 degrees, two sides which form the 90 degrees, AB and BC squared is equal to the square value of the what? Is equal to the square value of the hypotenuse. What is hypotenuse? The side which is opposite to the 90 degrees or the right angle. So that is AC squared. AB is 8, BC is 6 equals AC squared. AC squared is equals to 64 plus 36. AC equals root 100. AC equals 10 centimeters. That means this entire component is 10 centimeters. If this is 7, then what is this? 3. X plus 7 equals 10. X equals 10 minus 3. X equals 3 centimeters. That is the answer. Is it clear? So when you see something like that, there's no additional data. You have two sides which form the 90 degrees. The square value of that is equal to the square value of the hypotenuse. That's it. Question number 6. The least common multiple. Okay, there's some theory we need to add up here. Least common multiple. So for an example, what I do is, I will take the numbers 2, 3, and 4. Okay. What does the first word says to us? Multiple. Multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. Likewise, this goes on. Multiples of 18, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42. Likewise, this also goes on. The next one, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48. Likewise, this also goes on. So the last word is multiple. Last two words are what? Common multiples. We'll check whether we have any common multiples. 12 is common. 24 is common. 36 is common. So we'll say the common multiples. 12 is common. 24 is common. 36 is common. 48 will be common. 60 will be common. 72 will be common. 84 will be common. 96 will be common. 108 will be common. 120 will be common. Likewise, you will have common numbers till infinity. Okay? You will have common numbers till infinity. So here, if we take the last, all the three words, least common multiple, which is the least out of it, 12. So LCM is what? 12. What does it mean? Numbers have multiples. It means numbers have multiples and they meet at several locations. They have common multiples till infinity. Yes, not only 1, 2, or 3. They meet at infinity number of locations. Least common multiple is where does these numbers meet for the first time? That is the simplest explanation. Numbers have multiples They meet at multiple locations at infinite level of numbers. But LCM is where the numbers meet for the first time. That is LCM, where the numbers meet for the first time. So here, I go for the question. So here they are asking, where do 3x, 2xy, and 4y squared meet for the first time? That is the question they're asking. So what do? I will take all the three numbers. I started from there. I will take all these three numbers into one line. And I will start dividing by the smallest prime number. What are prime numbers? What are prime numbers? Prime numbers are numbers which are divisible by 1 and the number itself, which are divisible by 1 and the number itself. If I take 4, I have 1, 2, and 4. Is it a prime number? Nope. 5, divisible by 1 and the number itself. Divisible by 1 and the number itself. If I take 6, it is divisible by 1, 2, 3, and 6. Not a prime number. 8, divisible by 1, 2, 4, and 8. Not a prime number. Divisible by 1, 3, 9. Not a prime number. So prime numbers are numbers which are divisible by 1 and the number itself. So here, what do we call the numbers which are not prime numbers? We call them composite numbers. The numbers which have more than 2 factors. The numbers which have only 2 factors, numbers that are divisible by 1 and the number itself are called prime numbers. Numbers which are not prime numbers or which have more than 2 factors are called what? Composite numbers. Then, what is the smallest prime number? The smallest prime number is 2. Then what is the smallest composite number? Smallest composite number is 4. Then what is 1? Then what is 1? What are prime numbers? Prime numbers are numbers that are divisible by 1 and the number itself. Here, divisible by 1 is correct. Number itself is also 1. So that is not possible. When you go to composite numbers are numbers which have more than 2 factors. No, it has only 1. So 1 is not a prime, not a composite. Don't take it to either. 1 is not a prime number or not a composite number. Keep that in mind. You don't take it for both. Not a prime, not a composite. Keep that in mind. So now we'll go for the question. So what do I do is, I will start dividing with the smallest prime number. Here the smallest prime number I have is 2. 3x, there's nothing for me to divide. I will write as it is. 2xy, 2 gets divided, xy remains. In 4y squared, 2 gets divided, 2y squared remains. Again, I will divide by 2. 3x, xy, and y squared. Again, I will divide by 2. Do I have anything to divide by 2 now? No. Then I go for the next number. 3. Divide by 3. X, xy, y squared. Now there's nothing for me to divide by, but numbers. I should go for algebra. Divide by x. I have 1 y squared. Now again x. No, not required. There's nothing to get divided. Y. 1 1 y. Again y. 1 1 1. Until you get 1 in the bottom, you divide continuously. So what is the LCM? 2 into 2 into 3 into x into y into y. So this is 12 x y squared. This is the answer. Answer LCM is 12xy squared. That means 3x, 2xy, and 4y squared meets for the first time at 12xy. Keep that in mind. Okay. I hope you can see the data. Okay. Here, the question is from rates. What is rate? Anything which is measured with time is rate. I hope, according to me, even exam marks the rate. Why? How many marks you gain within 5 hours? Rate. So similarly, whatever you measure with time is rate. Okay. Here we measure the distance traveled in a certain time. So we call it the speed. Okay. So here, what they have told, the first question is find the speed of the object. And they have given a certain data. What is that? Uniform speed. That means the speed at this component, speed at this component, this component, this component, or this component is what? The same. You can take anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, anything. So what is the speed? The speed equals distance divided by the time. I will take the second one. 4 meters divided by 2 seconds. So the speed is 2 meters per second. So that is the next one. They are asking, find the time the object takes to travel 22 meters at this speed. Again, why? The speed is constant. Speed equals distance divided by time. So the same speed, 2 meters per second. Distance is 22 meters. And you get the time. What? Time equals 22 meters divided by 2 meters per second. Now it's all about cutting and chopping. Meters, meters cut, 222 cut 11. What is the answer? 11 seconds. Answer for part 1 is 2 meters per second. Answer for part 2 is 11 seconds. Venn diagram. Sets. Okay. We have been studying about sets since grade 6. Okay. So up to grade 9, we were studying 3 types of sets. In grade 10, we were introduced to a new section. Okay. The first way of representing a set is the descriptive method. The second one is listing elements method. Third one is the Venn diagram, which is the most important thing, because for us, the part 2 question from sets is based on what? The Venn diagram. So this is the most important thing for us. And the last one, in grade 10, we were introduced to set builder method. Okay, so these are the 4 types or 4 ways how you represent a set. Okay, what is descriptive method? Descriptive method is you write, give me a second. Okay, so what is the descriptive method? Descriptive method means you write a set with words you describe. Okay, so that is the descriptive method. So I'll take the set A, let it be positive integers between 1 to 10. So what is that? I have written in words. Descriptive method. The next one, listing elements. What do? Depending on whatever the set is, I write it in words, or write the letters, or write the numbers. So here we are talking about numbers. The positive integers between 1 to 10. I can't take 1, I can't take 10. So between 1 to 10, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. I have written in words. I have written the elements. The third one, words, numbers. What is the Venn diagram? Venn diagram means graphical representation. You draw it. You write in words, you list the elements, you draw. So we'll draw. So let this be the set A. What do? We randomly write everything. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We randomly write everything. Everything is written. Venn diagram. Then, in that case, what is set builder method? I have written in words. I have written in words. I have listed the elements. I have drawn it. What is missing? What is missing? Mathematical language. I have written in words. I have written the elements. I have drawn it. Mathematical language is missing. When I take the value inside A, at one time it's 2, another time it's 6, 8, 9, 7, 5, 4, 3. The value keeps changing. In maths, if something is changing, we call it a variable. If something is changing, we call it a variable. Okay. So the variable here is whatever inside the set A. Normally, for variables, we use x, but you can use whatever. I'm using x. So here, first I define the variable I'm using. I define x. That is why I write the x and I put the colon. I'm defining what is the variable I'm using. X. If you are using y, you write y and put a colon. If you are using m, you write m and put a colon. Anything is possible. Next, what are the two conditions? The first condition is it should be a positive integer. So x should be an element of the positive integer. First condition. The first condition is it should be a positive integer. Then what is the second condition I have? It should be between 1 to 10, where x is between 1 to 10. This is how you write. You have two conditions. One, x should be a positive integer. Next, it should be between 1 to 10. X is a positive integer and x is in between 1 to 10. In that case, x can be either 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. X can be any value. The value of x can keep changing. That's right. So next one. Now the question they are asking from us is, to write the value of, to shade the region of A dash intersection B. For that, I'll do a small exercise. So here, what do I do is, the question given to us is A dash and B. When they combine, what happens? Okay. The first one, I will take this for A dash and this for B. If I have A dash, that means the region which is outside A. That is this region. If I take B, that is this region. Now what I do is, I will combine both these regions and put it into one. So first, I have the blue region, that is this, B. The next, I have A dash, that is this. This is very raw, that means I'm just coloring both the regions in one. This is just for you to understand how does it work and as an exercise. Okay. So in this figure, I have four regions. The first region is where there are no colors at all, where I have blue only. where I have green only, and where I have blue and green both. Okay. So what are the possibilities of relationships you can get between A dash and B? The first one, A dash union B. Union means what? Union means everything. That means even if a that means even if a single color falls onto a certain region, that comes under union. Whether it be green only, whether it be blue only, whether it will be green and blue both, even if a single shade falls onto a certain region, it comes under union. So here, A dash union B means only this region is not colored. Other than that, all the regions comes under what? A dash union B. Union means all the regions that are colored, even if a single shade falls onto a certain region. That is A dash union B. What is the next possibility? A dash union B, whole thing complement. This is union, this is union complement. That means what? Whichever is not colored here will get colored here. The next one. The next one we have is what? The question. A dash intersection B. What does intersection means? Intersection means the region which is common for both. That means only and only if both the colors are there. The region which comes here is common only. The region which has both the colors is this. That is this half moon region of B. That is the region which has both the colors. Okay. The next one is A intersection B, whole thing complement. That means whichever is not colored here will get colored here. Sorry, A dash. So that is this region. Clear? So this is the answer we need. Now most of y'all might be thinking, do we have to do all this in the exam? No, that is just for you to get the understanding. So what we do is in the exam, okay, so they are asking what? A dash intersection B. What is the first one? A dash. I will take a small pen or whatever, and I will just highlight, not in the paper, on an extra page, I will highlight what is A dash. This is A dash for me. Just a quick highlight, okay? You don't have to keep it nice. It's your rough paper or whatever. That is A dash for me. Okay. The next component they are talking about is B. Then I will highlight B. This is B for me. Okay. Now I will see how are they connected. Intersection. Intersection means what? Common only, where both the colors should fall. Not only green, not only red, not only blue. Both red and blue should be there. Where do we have both red and blue? That is this region. Now you have identified the region. Now you get back to the paper and color this region. That is how you do. So whatever I did earlier was for your practice. So if I do it again, this is the answer. That is the region they are talking about. Clear? I hope everyone is good about it. We'll go to the next. Question number 9. The first question of circle geometry. The center of the circle shown in the figure is O. Okay, O is the center according to the given information. Now, why did they say O is the center from nowhere? I can see O is the center, no? So why are they giving O is the center? If they are giving O is the center, that means they want us to realize that this is what? The diameter. So they want us to understand that that is the diameter. That's why they are giving O is the center. Else they don't have to give it. They are giving it because they want us to identify that's the diameter. Because with diameter, there are so many theories that are coming up with diameter. Okay. The first one. There are several theories we need to identify with this or we need to study with this. Theory number 1. Theory number 1 is when we have a circle with center O, okay, we have a radii, we have another one, and if we extend it to the alternate sector, okay, the angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. The angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. That means if this is 100, this is 50. If this is 200, this is 100. If this is 120, this is 60. If this is 150, this is 75. The angle subtended at the center, the angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. Clear? This is one of the basic theories we have on the angles in a circle. Now, the same theory okay, the same theory when we are working on I'll draw it again. With center O, we'll say I already have this. There's no issue. What do I do is this point, I will move it such that these two lines, these aligns with the remaining yellow part. Okay. When it aligns with the remaining yellow part, what do we call this entire thing? It is a diameter because it goes through the center. When it's the diameter, what does it do to the circle? The circle is a semicircle. Why? It's getting divided into two. The diameter divides the circle into two. So the circle gets divided into two semicircles. This is diameter. So what does happens? When I move this here, automatically this point also moves a little down. So it will get settled something like this. Okay. So what is the basic thing we studied? Angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. Diameter is a straight line. At a straight line, what is the angle? 180. What did we say? Angle subtended at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. This is 180. What is the angle at the circumference? 90. Half of 180. This is why we called a semicircle angle is a right angle. Semicircle comes because the diameter divides the circle into two. Because it's a diameter. Semicircle, semicircle. That's why we call it a semicircle angle is a right angle. Clear? So that is that. So I'll keep this on a side. The next one. Theory number 2. We have a circle with center O. I have a chord. Chord is any line which touches the circumference of a circle. Chord is any line which touches circumference of the circle. You can have infinite number of chords. Why? You can have a circle like this. Chord, 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 chord. All are chords. Infinite number of chords you can have in a circle. Which is the longest chord? Which is the longest? Longest chord is the diameter. Because it goes through the center, that can have the longest length. So the longest chord is a diameter. The addition. So when you have a chord, what they say is when you hit, now the chord, what it does? It divides the circle into two segments. Small is minor segment, bigger is major segment. When you form an angle, that means the starting point and the ending point with the chord, if this is theta, you form another one like this, where the starting point and ending point is the same. This angle will also be what? Theta. Likewise, you form another one. Starting point and ending point is the same. This will also be what? Theta. Likewise, even though you form infinity number of angles or triangles like this with the same starting and ending point, all the angles will be what? Theta, theta, theta. We call it the same segment angles are equal. We call it the same segment angles are equal. So that is theory number 2 for us. So we'll check whether those two are sufficient for us to write the answer. So here we have the first one we studied is what? When you have a diameter, that means this is a semicircle, that is a semicircle. Semicircle, semicircle. Angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees or right angle. That means what? This angle is how much? 90. Before you write anything in a question in the paper, try to find the answer in the figure itself. Then you can go and write. That is 90. Okay. If that is 90, what is the next thing we know? If I take only this triangle, What can you say about the total internal angle of a triangle is how much? 180 degrees. If this is 90 and this is 30, 120, then this is what? 60 degrees. What did we study in theory number 2? This is the common chord. From that chord, this extends from the same starting and ending point. This extends from the same starting and ending point. That means what? The two angles, same segment angle, same segment angle. That means what? X equals 60 degrees. Clear? The first one, semicircle, angle is 90. You find this 90. Then you identify this entire circle is, this entire triangle, the angle is 180. You have 30, you have 90, 120, so the remaining is 60. The remaining is 60. You also identified this, and these are what? Same segment angles. So X is 60 degrees. Done. Question number 10. So whenever you get a question from logarithm in your paper, okay, you have a very simple task to do. You have a very simple task. The first one is they will give a index, a number in the index form. You have to convert it to log. Or they will give a log, you convert it to index. Here they have a log, you convert it to index. That is how the questions have been throughout the year. So if you are confident of it, that's it. So to make it a question a little more innovative, they will ask the answer just to write as a power of a, just to write as a power of 2, power of x, whatever. Those are just to make the answer question more innovative and little complicated. But the same is conversion of index to log and log to index. There's no it. So keep that in mind. So here, I'll teach you a small shortcut. This is just for you to keep in mind. This is not in books or anything. Just to recheck whether your answer is correct, okay? I have what? Log of b to the base a equals c. How do we do it as a shortcut? A is down, c is up. A to the power c is equal to b. You go anti-clockwise. A is down, c is up. A to the power c is equals to how much? B. So the answer is A to the power c is equals to b. A to the power c is equals to b. Second one. Keep it simple. Don't complicate, man. Because in the exam, though you know most of the things, because you're under stress with time, he might miss a certain thing. So it's very better and it's very advisable for you to keep certain things in remember as childish ways. So that's you don't have to get worried or don't think anything because most still I remember certain things in a very childish way. Okay, this is how I remember. That's it. Okay, at the end of the day we are getting the thing done. That's it. Keep it simple. So log of b to the power log of b to the base a is equal to c is similar to a to the power c is equals to b. So that is that. So the next question, sorry. Simplification. These are very simple, man. Should be able to do it in 10 seconds or something. I know you all are intelligent kids. What do we have? I have, I'll write it big, 3x into 5y squared divide by y divide by 6x. It's about cutting and chopping, my favorite. Just to cut and chop. Y and 1y gets cancelled. X and x gets cancelled. 3 and 6 gets cancelled. There's a 2 remaining. So the answer is 5y over 2. That is the simplest form. You can't simplify it further. That is the simplest form, okay? So here, this question is from data representation or statistics. This question is from data representation or statistics, okay? So what do I do is, first of all, I'll mark the data they have given. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So these are the data given to me, So I mark the first data. I have 5. Take another color. I hope you can see the color. Oh, I'll take a darker color. Sorry. So this is the component from 5 to 10. Next one, 11 to 15. This is the component from 11 to 15. The next one, 16 to 20. This is the data which falls on to 16 to 20. Now, y'all tell me what happens to the data in between 10 to 11 or 15 to 16, to which category I put. There is an issue, right? Because the interval is from 5 to 10 and 11 to 15. So between 10 to 11, I don't have an interval to put anything. So if I get a data of 10.5, 10.1, 10.2, whatever, there is no place for me to put. Okay? So what do we do is, I will take the center point of the portion that was missed. Okay? I will take the center point of the portion that was missed. I will give part of it, half of it to between 10 to 15 and 15. Next, another half to this region. So that means this is what? At the center, this is 10.5. This is 15.5. Okay. So here, the limit that is 10, 15, 20, 5, 11, 16. That is the limit you can go. But there's the boundary. Boundary is at 10.5, 15.5. Okay. limit is 10, but we are extending the boundary to 10.5. The limit is 15. I'm extending the boundary to 15.5. So what is the question? For the interval 11 to 15, that means they are talking about this. For the interval 11 to 15, upper class limit, okay, upper class, that means where it ends, the upper class limit is what? Limit is 15. The limit is 15. The lower class boundary, the lower class limit is 10. But the boundary, I'm taking a little further because this amount of data doesn't fall onto any region. So from the limit, I'm taking a 0.5 back. So the lower class boundary is what? 10.5. What is the upper class boundary? Upper class boundary is 15.5. Lower class boundary is 10.5. Upper class boundary is 15.5. Similarly, upper class limit is 15. Lower class limit is 11. Clear? So the answers for the question is upper class limit is 15. Lower class boundary is 10.5. Anyway, data can take a limit of only up to 15, but since there's no region to put the data between 15 to 16, we extend the boundary to 15.5. Clear? I hope the explanation is clear. We extend the boundary to 15.5. I hope it is clear for you. Okay. So kids, so today we did almost 12 questions out of 25. Okay. So we can call it a day because I don't want to drag further because I've been keeping you busy for almost 1.5 to 2 hours. Okay. So I hope you all gathered something for the day. So we discussed all the theories, possible theories, as well as the answers. So it's not about giving answers for your past paper questions because the same question is not going to repeat, but the same theory is going to. So understanding the theory is more important than answering the paper. And the reason why we do part 1 questions is that as you understood, when I showed you the analysis itself, you understood how the questions are getting varied. That means it's coming from everywhere. The entire syllabus is there. So that's why we are doing part 1 questions. Doing 10 part 1 questions is better than you doing 100 part 2 papers, okay? Because it covers a large variety of information and theories. And when you put the theories, it's application of those theories into part 2 paper. So it's very easy. So that's the reason why we do it, okay? So I hope you all have gathered something. And the other thing, this is just another examination, ordinary level examination, not the A level. So don't get stressed. Enjoy each and every moment that you school, that you spend with your friends. Collect as much as memories as you can because these days will never come again. Cherish every moment, okay, throughout your journey. So enjoy the journey. That's it. Don't get stressed saying that it's the O level. No bullshit, okay? Because this is just another examination for you to get into A levels. Once you get into A levels, the field that respective field that you need, nobody asks your O level results. Once you get into university, nobody will give a shit about your A level results. So keep it simple and all the very best. Good luck for the next week to come. So I'll catch you up next Sunday at 7:30 p.m. with the balance of these. Okay, kids? So have a great night. I'll catch you up next week then.